Now, I know that many of you, like me, at this time of the year are busy enrolling or registering kids in various sporting teams or swimming lessons or dance groups, whatever. Now, what kills me is the gender stuff we now face right across the board from so many organisations. Here's one now, just one example, and I've had plenty of similar ones with my kids where I need to say whether they are boys or girls or perhaps non-binary or some other variation. Why do we do this? To cater for a tiny minority who most sporting clubs or organisations deal with sensibly anyway? It's just another example, isn't it, of activists getting their way. Let's kick off a discussion on this and other matters with Kosha Gada, the CEO of Recastled in Melbourne, and in Canberra, Radio 2CC breakfast host Stephen Senatiempo. Kosha, let's start with you. Thanks both for joining us. But Kosha, let's start with you. Do we need all these options for kids? I mean, you've got to go the gender. Can't we just stick with the two for now, or do we ignore science?
You know, I think that ship has sailed for quite some time, Chris, unfortunately. And, you know, you asked the poignant question there, why is it happening? Definitely the squeaky wheel gets the grease with activists getting their way. But I would look at it as a spectrum of possible motivations here. One could be as simple as that they're sort of crying out for acceptance and having that show up everywhere, including in kids' sporting registrations, as you mentioned. Or at the other end, something more nefarious, where this is all part of really an agenda to neutralise immutable characteristics and deconstruct them, and then using that as an enabler to reconstruct all sorts of identity and just the effects that has on family, on society. I think really this is something closer to that, if not all the way at that more nefarious end of the spectrum, I'm sorry to say.
Yeah, I think you're right. It's all about deconstruction. They don't want us to actually notice these differences. What about you, Stephen? You've got your little nephews out there playing that round ball game, no doubt. Why can't they just treat them as boys and girls?
Look, Chris, I think Kosh is 100% correct that it is the latter. It is this breakdown of the traditional aspects of society. We're trying to recreate, dare I say it, recreate in the left's image. But the reality is I think it actually does more damage, particularly to younger kids. If we're foisting this stuff on them, and you've got two young boys yourself, they wouldn't be thinking about this kind of stuff.
No.
And it's almost like we're trying to force them to think outside a square that they're not even in.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. I think it's insidious, but I'm like Kosha too. I think maybe the race has been run. We're just stuck with this forever.